Welcome to the 35th episode of Dialogika, a podcast between two friends about the latest in politics, society, and feminism in Indonesia and the world. I'm Stephanie Tangkilusan.
And I'm Swedian Lee. And this week we have a very cool conversation with Andita Firsela Utami, better known as Afu, and her husband, Wikan Anantabrata, better known as Wikan, the two creators of the YouTube web series Frame and Sentences, a bi-monthly video essay about issues and topics that affect the current generation of young Indonesians.
Afu is currently a graduate student at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, and Wikan is there as well as her supportive husband. And so I actually won't be in the interview because Sweden is the one in Boston talking to Wikan and Afu about Frame and Sentences, whereas I'm still in New York, stuck doing my schoolwork.
Watch as this episode becomes a rant about Stephanie's busy schedule.
It's either like homeless people or like covering murders, so that's my life right now. Anyway, Frame and Sentences has garnered over 30,000 views since the beginning of August of this year in just 4 months. That's definitely more listens than we get.
More than a year. Listeners, get on it!
I think what we find really interesting is how Afu and Wikan came to be so woke. So we want to talk to them about what is it about their past or what their family background is that made them have this like social consciousness to respond.
Mm-hmm. As a note to our English-speaking listeners, this week's episode will be in a mix of Indonesian and English, so we'll provide subtitles in our YouTube video when that's ready.
That's actually really representative of how Indonesian Western educated people really talk. Like if it's just me and Sweden talking, we'd actually sound like that. But so you know, we try to keep it one language for you guys for a reason. So here's to it.
Selamat datang di Frame and Sentences, di mana channel YouTube ini aku dan Afu bikin untuk membicarakan isu-isu yang menurut kita penting.
So with Frame and Sentences, I think what's really interesting to me at least is that how progressive Afu and Wikan are. So we thought it would be interesting for us to know how they got themselves so woke and what inspires them to do what they do outside of their professional lives. So what is it like talking to Wikan and Afu? Where did you guys record?
So we took full advantage of the fact that we were on the Harvard campus and we got ourselves a little room in the Harvard Innovation Lab, which is their startup incubation building that looks really pretty and nice and I was kind of jealous of. But that's besides the point. We recorded there and it was a lot of fun, you know. We actually set it up so that while we were recording, Wikan also had his camera.
What?
Recording.
Are you going to be in their video?
I don't know. They said like, we might use this in the future. We don't know. I don't know how I looked, but I was more than game to have
Probably
it.
Probably
bad. There's a reason why we're a podcast. Or at least why I prefer a podcast than a YouTube series. But I was just like...
Oh yeah, how do we should have gone over that. How do we know Afu and Wikan? By we, I mean you, because... I don't really know them.
It's funny. I asked Afu the same questions, like, how do you know Stephanie? And she said, via the internet.
Yeah.
As many of the woke
via the internet.
Indonesians know of each other.
We follow each other on Twitter. Was it a Twitter romance? I don't know.
I actually first met Afu and Wikan over Thanksgiving of last year when I visited my sister. My sister goes to Harvard as well, and that's how I knew Afu. And it was really cool to just meet fellow Indonesians who are also in America and learning more about Afu's background in international relations and Wikan's own background in videography. This was all before Frame and Sentences as well, so it's only recently that I've heard of Frame and Sentences and we reached out to talk to them and see what they're up to. It was actually really cool to talk to them and sort of connect with another couple of young, progressively minded Indonesians whose interested in the same topics and issues that Stephanie and I are interested in, and tackling it and talking about it in a different way, right, through their YouTube series. And it was just fun to talk about some of the similarities as well as differences and how we treat content. I think we both can benefit a lot from having these kind of conversations and altogether helping to generate a more critical thinking community and mindset, especially amongst the current generation of young Indonesians.
Throughout the interview, we'll give you sound bites from Wikan and Afu's videos, just so you, when we refer to an episode they're doing, so you guys have an idea. But otherwise, you should definitely check out their videos on YouTube.
Yeah, and their videos are only 5 to 6 minutes long, so definitely an easy amount of time to get through it. And it's really good quality videos.
Definitely like a lot of effort and artistry that we really appreciate. And like definitely I know starting to make video how much effort it is to make a sequence and to edit all these videos, etc.
If you want to, you could like watch the videos first and then come back and listen to this episode again to really get a sense of what Wikan and Afu are talking about in responding to some of the questions about the videos. And you'll get like the references that we're making because we make a lot of references to the videos in this episode.
Yeah. Here's Afu and Wikan.
You guys want to talk a little bit about frame and sentences, sort of like introduce it to our listeners who have not heard about frame and sentences before?
Sure. So Frame and Sentences is basically a YouTube channel that we started together while studying here in the US. Through the channel, we aim to talk about, social issues that we care about, basically, and bringing a new, hopefully fresh perspective on, issues that concern Indonesian people.
Mm-hmm. What inspired the project?
Sebenarnya, the first idea is we want to make a photo blog.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the idenya pertama itu. And then kita udah bikin website-nya segala macam. It's hiatus for like 2 months, 3 months, like 3 bulan hiatus nggak ngapa-ngapain. Aduh bosan nih ngapain ya, gimana kalau misalkan terus kita kayak dapet eureka gitu, oh iya kenapa nggak kita bikin YouTube channel aja, kita ngomongin sesuatu yang sebenarnya it's very related to us, kayak topik yang ada di Indonesia gitu yang lagi besar dan itu sangat-sangat kena ke kita, lalu kita membicarakan dari our perspective gitu, jadi kita berharapnya ke orang juga bisa mungkin punya perasaan yang sama dan nggak tahu gimana harus ngomongnya, dan kayak ngomong oh iya benar kita punya perasaan yang sama dan kita mencoba deliver itu gitu. That's the story of Frame and Sentences.
Yeah. Dan kalau misalnya pertanyaannya dari sisi topik-topik yang kita angkat, juga semangatnya karena there are topics we want to talk about and we can't find any media or like basically any platform that talks about these things that we specifically want to talk about. Yeah. So we decided why not just create it ourselves gitu.
It's kind of similar to how Steph and I started Dialogika. It's
right.
Like,
yeah,
we were consumers of this format, but there was nothing like it out there, so we're like, okay, I guess we have to make it.
Exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about your background and how that influenced Frame and Sentences?
I would say that I tend to be like I don't know if I should say this on like a podcast, but like compared to an average Indonesian, I might subscribe to liberal ideas, and I think that really drives my writing or like the script that I develop for Frame and Sentences in a way, because I want to introduce sort of this like new critical thinking, like approach that's more like critical in looking at issues in Indonesia. Jadi sebelum ini, my background is I went to UI for undergrad. I did international relations, so I was like exposed a lot to issues mulai dari yang kayak very political, like what happened in 65, 66.
Human rights issues, social issues, justice.
Yeah, exactly. So that background kind of drives me in what I write in Frame and Sentences, I think.
I think in social science especially, there's a lot of critical thinking behind that. And I think both Dialogika and Frame and Sentences know like the problem of fake news and the lack of critical thinking.
Yeah.
Sure.
And especially in how people consume media in Indonesia right now. I think it's very important. You want to talk a little bit about your background?
Okay, my background actually, again, mulai dari fotografi.
Yeah.
So, when I was 15, I guess, 15 tahun, orang bapak saya waktu itu bawa kamera yang masih pakai disket. Kamera digital masih pakai disket.
Old school.
Yeah, very old school. Like aku belajar fotografi dan bapak waktu itu emang basisnya emang jurnalisme kan.
Okay.
Dan dia ngajarin, oh ini framingnya bagus nih sepertiga gini, dan aku suka the idea of street photography, di mana kalau aku motret gitu, aku senang idenya adalah karena orang bisa ngebayangin setelah dan sebelum foto itu. Setelah masuk ke SMA, mulai merasakan ternyata ada kelemahan. Karena kelemahan itu dimana aku nggak bisa yang namanya menceritakan apa yang ingin aku sampaikan gitu. Kebetulan dan saat itu juga tiba-tiba entah kenapa kayak universe doing something, kakak saya masuk ke film. Dia bikin dokumenter, lalu saya ngerti, oh iya ternyata film itu dokumenter itu menarik gitu, karena cerita sesuatu yang ingin sampaikan, aku bisa. Karena dari situ aku mulai serius film dan mulai merasakan rasa jatuh cinta terhadap film gitu kan. Bagaimana kayak ternyata sesuatu indah, aku bisa menggambarkan sesuatu. Tetapi tiba-tiba stuck lagi dengan kepercayaan realita ternyata bikin film tuh mahal. Mahal sekali lah. Iya. Kamera ini, wah keren nih kamera. Mahal banget. Apa refinance ya kita jangan deh gitu. Segala macam. So dari situ bikin gimana nih, udah mulai nyerah. And then I found YouTube, right? So YouTube itu bisa bikin orang-orang manapun yang cuma punya kamera HP pun bisa berkreasi, dan kreasinya bagus-bagus semua, dan itu bikin aku jadi lebih encourage sesuatu yang kayak, hey, gue punya kamera DSLR kok gitu, udah lumayan cukup bagus, itu lebih bagus daripada orang-orang ini, so I can make something. But apa ya gitu, tapi aku nggak tahu apa yang ingin aku ciptakan, bingung. Baru dapat kepentok idenya itu waktu aku udah sama Afu kan, and then frame and synthesis happen, terjadi.
I mean, it feels like a perfect marriage of both of your skills. It's a good thing you guys are married too.
Yeah, we're married now.
It comes with the package.
It's a good choice of word. It's a marriage of skills.
Yeah, because I think it's like the more I think about how the youth and millennials, even though the word has a loaded meaning these days, the way they consume news is now mostly through video, and I do think a platform like YouTube that you guys are on, Frame and Sentences is on, has really impacted how technology is developed. Like, I would argue that our phones wasn't going to have that good of a camera if it's not because of YouTube and those habits, right? Of like taking videos on your own, making your own videos and amateur videos or whatever. Yeah. It's something that's like democratizes how people share their stories. And I think that's wonderful. We get a lot of different kinds of perspectives that otherwise we would never get.
Beberapa waktu lalu, media sosial sempat dibuat heboh oleh tabel ini. Menurut tabel yang dibuat oleh situs ayonikah.com ini, usia menikah ideal rentangnya antara 25 sampai 28 tahun. Dan kalau misalnya Anda udah lewat umur 31 tahun, maka Anda harus waspada. Personally, I feel like there's so many problems with this table that I don't even know where to start. Dan makanya aku memutuskan untuk membuat video ini supaya bisa dibahas dengan tuntas.
And this is from Frame and Sentences' first video ever, Berapa Usia Nikah Yang Tepat? Or, What's the Ideal Age of Marriage?
And now, back to Afu and Wikan. We're in like a podcasting format, so we don't get the kind of comments, or at least not as regularly as like YouTube commenters. How do you sort of like navigate the crazy world of YouTube comments? I've seen some of them too.
So I'm probably gonna share the story like of our first video, yeah. Jadi like the first time ever, like we upload the very first episode of Frame and Sentences,
which was about the
ideal age of marriage. Yeah. Jadi like it's within maybe 5 minutes, there was one unlike, like dislike, the thumbs down button. Terus kayak ada karena itu video pertama kan kita kayak refresh. Terus kayak 5 menit ada satu dislike, and that was like, holy shit, this video sucks. Like, people don't like it. Why did we even bother making it? Like, all of that. So this is like the very first episode gitu kan. Yeah. Masih kayak ultra sensitive banget dong sama kayak whatever kind of feedback that we get gitu. Tapi at the same time, despite this one dislike, there were also like a lot of very encouraging comments. Yeah. Also, like for the reasons you mentioned, right? Like there aren't that many other media that talks about this in a very like frank, open, candid way gitu. Jadi pertama komentar yang kayak negatif gitu muncul juga dalam bentuk-bentuk lain dan lebih parah dari bentuk dislike gitu kan. Kayak ada yang kayak nanya kenapa sih harus bahasa Inggris gitu, mau sok jago ya gitu, atau ada juga yang tapi I think over the time we know that we cannot please everyone,
of course,
so we kind of, the way we look at the negative comments, we look at it as like what can we take away from it, like what constructive thing we can take away and like pisahin dari the rest of the like very negative comments gitu, dan kita fokus ke part yang kita beneran bisa perbaikin aja gitu. Ya sejauh ini sih lama-lama jadi terbiasa dan jadi lebih calm down ketika ngeliat kayak komentar-komentar.
Part of the good and bad of YouTube is that people can post easily, but there can also be a conversation. Like I remember seeing some of your YouTube comments. For every negative comment, critical comment, there's also so many positive comments.
Yeah.
Like people kind of like respond on your behalf.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes,
true.
which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like, you give this gift of the video and it starts the topic and the conversation, and then other people take it on.
Right.
And that's part of the magic of the internet these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly one of the reason juga kenapa we want to spark people to talk. Like you just say it gitu. Kayak,
course.
bukan kita bikin platform ini kayak kita kayak starting aja, kayak kita moderator, kita udah ngasih topik gitu, silakan berbicara gitu.
Yeah. Sama karena kita juga sadar banget bahwa kita bukan source of knowledge atau source of authority for any of the topic. Like we're not a lawyer, we're not kayak whatever topiknya, kita bukan ahli pernikahan atau ahli anything like that. We're just a citizen who cares about this issue, and like we hope that other citizens also care and like we can talk together.
Yeah. Would you guys consider yourselves like feminist? And like, if so, like, where did that come from? Where did that influence come from?
I mean, I think like first of all, somehow I'm always skeptical towards people, and this is probably a bad skepticism, but I'm skeptical towards people who call themselves feminists as actual feminists. So if the question, so I think that the straightforward answer is I never really think or like question if I'm a feminist, but I know that like, of course I'm like, if you frame feminists as people who like believe that all genders are equal, and like kalau dalam marriage misalnya istri dan suami itu sebenarnya setara, nggak ada yang lebih kayak mimpi dari yang lain, within that working definition I am a feminist. But at the same time, I don't know if like I don't know if I'm comfortable calling myself feminist, because that might also exclude myself from other conversations. But to ask like where did that kind of point of view come from, I think at home my mom is the one who's the breadwinner of the family. So I was raised in a house where I'm used to seeing my father at home and not my mother. And so I'm never exposed to that normalcy of like men being away and like your mom is always at home, so like that's not normal. So like I don't have that stereotype planted in my head, I think, which is like a good start for me to like, even when I go out and like go to school and like do all of this, I never feel like, oh, should I stay at home? Like beneran gak kepikiran kayak gitu, karena like for me a woman breadwinning at home is like completely fine. My mom has been doing it, and ketika sebelum kayak mikir mau nikah gitu juga, like I know that I'm not gonna get married with a guy who is like try to control me or my body or how I think about things. Like I go out in the world with that perspective from home, and like so yeah.
Kalau untuk aku sih, to be honest, until right now, I don't know what maksudnya kayak aku selalu dengar kata feminis segala macam. Tapi aku nggak pernah tahu apa yang feminisme dan segala macam. Kalau equality itu udah jelas ya. Menurut aku equality dan kayak kesamaan atau kebebasan untuk memilih dan segala macam, kayak owning your own body dan segala macam, itu menurut aku nggak perlu dikumpulkan menjadi satu lalu di label sebagai kata feminis gitu. Menurut aku, karena aku juga besar bersama, maksudnya aku dibesarkan oleh keluarga yang emang aktivis gitu. Bapak dulu kerja di LBH, lalu jurnalisme, lalu ibu juga kerja di PBHI gitu, bagian dari LBH gitu kan. Jadi aku selalu ikut kantor gitu, selalu merasakan kayak oh iya, semuanya sebenarnya berbasis pada human rights gitu. Kayak kamu merasa dilanggar apa enggak, karena setiap orang harus mempunyai pilihan sendiri. Orang harus setara, nggak ada yang lebih kaya atau apa. So aku sudah kayak termindset dari kecil memang seperti aku ngerasa kayak oh iya, kalau perempuan aku nggak punya hak untuk nyuruh aku harus tinggal di rumah gitu, atau kalau laki-laki harus jadi lebih hebat atau pintar segala macam gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya orang are you a feminist gitu, I don't know, karena feminis tergantung bendera mana yang lo bawa gitu.
That's a good point.
Ya bendera mana yang lo bawa gitu. Kalau misalkan bendera lo bawa misalkan yang pro perempuan yang perempuan gini, they have a different definition of feminism dengan feminism misalkan kayak orang-orang kayak misalkan Unilever or something kayak I don't know, like it's a very different. So I think menurut aku kayak orang nggak perlu kayak melabel kayak are you a feminist or not, karena ya yang paling simpelnya adalah basicnya adalah kalau if you feel nggak merasa nggak equal dengan orang lain, ya you need to fight for it gitu.
Sorry, if I can still jump in.
Yeah.
Tapi juga bisa dimengerti sih bahwa kayak label itu juga diperlukan when you fight for like a specific thing. Maksudnya I kind of can understand why the label still matters, especially if you're in a social structure that has been so patriarchal for so long, and you wanna like literally breaking the ceiling up, and if you don't know how to call your group, I mean, like the label can also empower it in a way, right? So like I can see that, but I guess like what my comment previously is more about how depending on what the conversation is about and depending on what audience you're trying to reach out to, it might be counterproductive.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. And like this is not I mean, like of course I like support feminism and like it's all great, but this is just like a more critical way of looking at what the label means and what kind of impact it's making towards that.
And what kind of role having these labels, right? Like as you said, these labels are useful in certain roles, but you shouldn't be like once I get the label too, like I'm done. Like I don't need to do anything. Nggak perlu aktivitasnya apapun. I don't need to support these organizations because I'm already called a feminist.
Yeah.
Like that defeats the purpose too.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yang paling penting is the activities, right? And how we actually help impact people and move them towards equality.
Sure.
So it is like, it's one of the things we always talk about. It's like there's the stereotype that feminism cuma ada satu model.
Yeah.
Which is so not true.
It's very
and a lot of people might think like, oh, the model is like what happened in America or what happened in the West. Again, that's not true. Kita di Indonesia juga ada sejarah feminisnya sendiri.
Yeah.
Like Kartini and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Not just Kartini, like other figures as well, other female figures. Like, so it's a loaded question in that sense. Like, it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you guys being honest and sharing your thoughts. And it's awesome to know that you guys, regardless of whether or not you want to use that label, you espouse the same values, you believe in the same values, you're fighting for the same causes.
Yes.
And we need more people like that
Yes.
in today's day and age.
I don't think we have spent enough time to talk about what happened in Tanjung Priok 1984, in May 1998, in Katapang 1998, and other racially induced violence that take place in so many corners of our country. Why do we not talk about it? Why do we fail to wake up from a long sleep in the past where Suharto dictates literally every word that was written in our history books? I don't think
This is from their third video, Ngapain Belajar Sejarah? Or Why Study History?
And now, back to Afo and Wikan.
There's something really exciting about these kind of projects where even though we're sharing our own experiences, our own thoughts, we're also expanding those universes of ideas, right, and conversations. We're excited about where Frame and Sentences goes, and our listeners, we totally encourage you. We'll share our links and everything about the series, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of listeners who are going to watch it. And
thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do you guys want to add anything else? Say it now or never say it again.
No, I think I just want to say again, like, thank you so much for inviting us in your podcast. I know that, like, I think there are many, like, overlaps in terms of the ideas or, like, the topics that we care about. Like, we definitely share the same, I don't know, frustration on, like, certain topics. So it's great that we can, even have this interaction. And we'll cross-post and also promote, like, your podcast on our video because, like, it's also super great.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can find more information and resources of whatever we talked about on our website, dialogika.id.
Music credits to John Dealey, Lee Roosevelt, and of course, Broke for Free.
If you like what you hear and want to support us, please review our podcast on the Apple Podcast app or whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. And please share our podcast with your friends. It's the best way to spread the word about Dialogika.
If you want to get more involved, we'd love to hear from you. Our email is dialogikapodcast@gmail.com, or just shoot us a message on our Facebook page.
You can also find us on Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and now Twitter. Please follow us on these various platforms. Our Twitter handle is @DialogikaPod. Also, follow me on Twitter. It's Steph Tank. That's STEPHTANGK.
Thank you again, and